I'm Kevin Cheely, and you're listening to the Not Bitter, Just Better podcast.
Not Bitter, Just Better, the all-new Everton podcast.
Right, it's our match preview time again, and a look ahead to the visit of Swansea City this Saturday coming up. 3 o'clock kick-off again, 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row, 2 weeks playing against teams from Wales.
Yeah, welcome to our YouTube listeners.
Hello, YouTube.
And it's the return fixture to the 22nd of December visit down to the Liberty Stadium and an Everton 2-1 victory. And it's the third time we'll have faced Swansea this season.
Correct, it is. Quite a memorable game, wasn't it? The first league fixture down at the Liberty. Memorable probably most for one of our goals of the season, I think you would say.
I think you'd say 2 of our goals of the season, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right there, yeah.
I think it was a pretty dour game, and we talked about this quite recently when we did the FA Cup preview. Quite a dour game, which was just kind of made memorable by two moments of brilliance by 2 of our young talents.
Yeah, especially the late winner from Ross Barkley with a free kick that rattled in off the bar, and it was one of them where it hit the bar and loads of water flew off the bar, didn't it? And it just made it look even more dramatic. And great goal, and another late winner for Everton, which we're becoming quite famous for, aren't we, at the moment?
Yeah. So it was. We scored more goals in the last 10 minutes than any other team in the Premiership.
Yeah. It's a nice little stat to have, that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because we used to be on the end of those goals.
We used to be terrible for that, didn't we? Conceding to the likes of United or Villa or Liverpool or whoever else. So
Seamus Coleman put us up with a screamer in the 66th minute, put us 1-0 up. And then they equalised through a very, very unfortunate Brian Oviedo own goal, which kind of just bounced in off his knee and sent Howard the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then up stepped Ross when we didn't even know he could take a free kick, and he managed to bend it in. What a great finish.
He soon surprised us, didn't he? I mean, obviously, since then, Swansea have had a very disappointing season, really, haven't they? When you look at it, what are they now? 29 games in, and they've only won 7 games all season, which is less than Crystal Palace. From where they were last season when Michu was banging them in and Michael Laudrup was the next manager of, Barcelona or Real Madrid, it's been a very different season, hasn't it, this year?
And I think, again, we talked about this a little bit in the FA Cup preview. I think they are perhaps victims of having a successful season and being in the UEFA Cup, because they had quite a good run in it. Only recently going out, and the form hasn't been great in the league, and they went out to us in the cup, and maybe they had all their eggs in the UEFA basket. Maybe, do you think?
Again, we talked about this in Lent. It's not something I subscribe to. You choose what team you want to play in that competition. If you want to play your kids, you can play your kids. It's one of them, isn't it? At the end of the day, the league form just hasn't been good enough. They're currently sitting in 14th, which doesn't sound, ominously dangerous. However, they've only got 29 points, and Fulham are bottom of the league on 24 points. So that's less than a 2-game swing, really, for Swansea to be, rock bottom of the league. They're coming off the back where, whereas Everton had a late morale boosting win last week against Cardiff, Swansea had the exact opposite. Basically throwing 3 points away, you would say, and losing 2-1 at home to West Brom, who were fellow strugglers.
Yeah, it was a funny one, that one, isn't it? It's, West Brom just haven't been starting in the first half, and they just don't do well at all. So Swansea were 1-0 up at half time, and then a bit of a turnaround, and West Brom took all 3 points, and big 3 points for them. So Swansea are going to be wanting to react, aren't they?
Swansea scored quite early, and funnily enough, don't know if you know this, but the goal scorer for Swansea in the second minute was former Kajagoogoo singer Lamar.
Was it?
Yeah.
Nice one.
And then, leading from the second minute, fairly comfortable for Swansea, and then conceded 2 goals in the second half to Sessegnon and Malumbu. You'd have a look at the team lineup that Swansea put out last week, and you'd suppose it'd be somewhere similar to that. And on paper, they've got some decent players. We keep on talking about this. It's the 3rd time that they've cropped up on this podcast. Vorm in goal, highly rated.
Your favourite at right back?
Ashley Williams, centre half, highly rated. My favourite, Angel Rangel at right back, highly rated. And then, even there's a lot of experience in the midfield. The Guzman we've talked about before on the podcast. Canas, who scored past us in the cup. Leon Britton and Wayne Routledge, who's played now in the Premier League for a number of clubs. And then Bonnie, who up front, who everyone seems to rate as a good striker and has even been linked with possibly a move to Everton if we fail in our bids to get Lukaku. But then you look at that team from another perspective and you think how they've played this season, and there's nothing really there to be worried about.
No, it's not like, again, last season the real danger man was Michu. I think he kept. It's a very different kind of lineup now, isn't it? And I think Bonnie scored a decent. He's in double figures, isn't he, for the season? But I think in all competitions, but I think probably 5 or 6 of them are probably coming in the early rounds of the Europa League. Yeah, definitely a decent forward, but nobody's had the same kind of impact as Michu.
Well, that's right, and I mean, you look at that team that started for Swansea last week, and I always say this: how many of those players would get into our team currently? I think the only one who's got any chances is probably Ashley Williams, ahead of maybe Stones, just on experience.
Just on experience, yeah. He's a decent player, Ashley Williams, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I'd say
Vorm we've discussed before as being a decent shot stopper.
Yeah, but you wouldn't put him in over Howard.
No, just him.
Lamar possibly to maybe sing 2 shy at half time as a bit of entertainment for the Gladys Street.
Our younger listeners won't have a Scooby-Doo what you're on about. In fact, Scooby-Doo, a clue how a Scooby-Doo is. Our younger listeners.
Probably, yeah. So, you look at that and again you think the way Everton played last week, I think probably a performance as good as the one against Cardiff, even though it wasn't a great performance, would probably be enough to take 3 points from the game. Would you agree, or do you think we need to do more?
I think we need to do a little bit more.
I'd like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see a lot more.
Went our way.
Yeah, I'll have that.
And if on another day with a different ref, they might not have gone our way. So we need to make sure we get off to a good start. And I said this last week. We said about the poor atmosphere. It is. Everyone is just so tense, and we don't start singing until we're winning. I
think last week was the worst out of the lot this season.
Well, it's just our season. You think about our home games. We've come off the back of a demoralising Derby defeat, and then a couple of poor away defeats when we were in a really good position, and then the Arsenal game last week, and. It's just it's a bit demoralising, and you can sense it. So
are we resigned to the fact now that the only time we're going to have an atmosphere this season now is Man United at home?
Possibly.
I think it's looking that way, isn't it?
We got the rearranged Palace game midweek under the lights of Goodison in the middle of April, and a midweek game that might bring a bit of atmosphere back. I just think because everybody's so tense, like I said last week, if we get off to a good early start with some decent play, some decent fiery challenges maybe, because challenges can be as good as a goal for getting the crowd going.
I think an early goal would help us.
Yeah, because when was the last time we got a really really early goal? So and went on to to really control the game and not looking in any danger, and without thinking we're going to throw it all away.
Exactly. I mean, my man to watch the game at the weekend is, if they're going to score, if they're going to pose any threat, it is going to be Boney, isn't it? We've already mentioned him. As he's a big lad. He's sort of Lukaku-esque, would you say?
I don't think he's quite as mobile
Possibly not. Say big stature could cause, defenders problems. Could maybe use his weight and his strength advantage against Stones, maybe in a one-on-one. I think he's, going to be the biggest risk to Everton. But prediction-wise, again, I seem to be saying this every week. I can't see anything but an Everton win, and I've got a feeling we might actually. I don't really ever like to predict that we're going to hammer someone. I've just got a feeling this week we might do, and I think possibly it could be, at least 3 goals. 3-0 maybe?
I'm hoping so. At times it looks like things are going to click again. It looks like the fullbacks are coming back into it. We play with wingers. If it clicks, it can be great again. And if it, we're not far away from having that, having that happen, are we? We've got Lukaku back to full fitness. We'll have Morales, who's always eager to get on the score sheet. They've all got something to prove now. As you said before, we've got 6 of those attacking players in trying to get into 3 spots. 6 who have all got a worthy claim, and at some point they've got to start making their actual claim for it. In this run-in, 10 games to go, we could really consolidate that 5th position over the next 4 or 5 games, because there's a tough few games after that. Yeah,
we could. I mean, on the injury front, as we've said, Pinar's doubtful still, I think he's still suffering from his thigh strain. Jagielka, I think there's some chance he may be back. It's probably going to be a fitness test on the day, I would have thought. All the long-term absentees, I'm not expecting any of them back. So we'll be missing Gibson, Traore, Kone, but no real difference there. So, as we've mentioned already, I think it's time to give McGeady a start. Maybe drop down Delafeu back to the bench, and I would now play Barkley until the end of the season. Behind Lukaku, give the lad a run again. It's about time he gets a start again. That would be my team really: McGeady, Morales, Barkley, and Lukaku up front with all the regulars behind him.
What would worry me about the Delafeu thing is he scored at the weekend. Maybe his impact wasn't great overall, but he scored and he's dropping out. I never like to see that. I think players are unfortunate.
He scored a semi-fortunate goal on the back of a poor performance. I know what you're saying. In all honesty, I could take or leave Delafeu or Morales, whichever one you want to drop down to give McGeady the start. That's fine by me. And then obviously bring one of them off the bench to replace whoever's not playing well. I can't see anything except for an Everton win. And hopefully a little bit of a pick-up in the atmosphere.
But that'll be down to the team.
It will be down to the team. We've got another Everton function, haven't we, as well, this weekend?
Yeah. Which I'm a little bit gutted about because I won't be able to go.
Well, you're playing the granddad card with your bad back. But Bob Latchford's in town, and we're hosting a dinner with him on Friday night at Players Lounge on County Road. I think it's pretty much sold out now. There may be 1 or 2 specs for anyone who's listening to this on Thursday and fancies it. If you do, just inbox us on Facebook. And if we've got any specs left, we'll get you on board. Bob Latchford's going to be there talking us through his goal scoring exploits for the Blues, and signing some books, and whatever else you want signed from him. You can get your buttocks signed, possibly.
I don't think he'd do that unless you're.
I don't know. He might do.
A nice young female, he might do it for you.
If he's a nice young female, I might do it for them as well. Okay. We'll hopefully maybe have a little bit of recording from Bob to play on next week's podcast, and hopefully a good night will be out by all, get us in the spirit for the game on Saturday, and it'll be 3 points at Goodison Park.
Yeah, so this week the podcast really had a little bit more of a positive tone overall with the 3 points at the weekend. Let's hope next week we're both really happy again, and hopefully we can smash Swansea out of sight.
And let's hope next week Johnny's back to normal, so we don't have to put up with his sick voice through the podcast. Because if anyone's noticed, he's been putting his sick voice on today.
I've got a sore throat as well. I just didn't want, I don't want the world's sickest person.
You're like Darren Anderton, you sick note.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and now YouTube. Catch you all next week.
I've done my usual. I've just remembered something I completely forgot to say in my Swansea preview.
Go on.
Little known fact for you. Here's my final fact of the day. Swansea have never beaten Everton in a competitive game, apparently.
Oh, you just jinxed us now.
In their history. No, I'm going to put it out there. I think we played... It's actually quite a low number of times we played, which is, I think it's 18 times. And Everton have won 13 competitive matches and drew 5. So there you go.
Okay, well, that's a long way to continue.
We'll see you next week.